I don't know. I don't have a secret to what I do, dude. Like I'm
Right.
not like some like philosopher or whatever it may be. But it's about keeping yourself busy, man, and
Yeah.
not thinking too hard about like as long as you keep yourself busy and focus on going on the right path. I think good things will happen.
Today we have on the podcast Ray Markarian. Ray is a real estate agent and writer for broadcasting and media production company Bleacher Report, as well as the founder of The Hunt Boxing, which is a creative outlet for artists that have a strong interest in sports. We are very, very excited to have Ray on the podcast today to talk to us about what it's like juggling two different professions. What's up, Ray? Welcome to the pod.
Hey, man. Thanks a lot. How you
Of
doing?
course. So how's everything been affecting you, and how's stuff slowed up for you for everything going on with this virus?
I mean, it's naturally made my life a little bit, or my work life a little bit slower. Like I was telling you before we pressed record, I have some clients that are like super eager to buy, but most clients are somewhat just like not really ready to make a move. I mean, although they are picking up their phone, they're communicating, they're just more like not really ready to take the step forward to like get a loan approval or whatever it may be. But there are some positives, like I said. Like I have one client that's just like super eager, wants to look at properties all the time. Another one that's ready to like get qualified. So I just keep my head down and keep working, man. It's
Yeah.
not about, to me, it's not about like, what's going on in the outside world. If someone's like interested in purchasing a property, I'm there for them, dude. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it for me.
Yeah. Like I said too, I mean, I showed a house yesterday, just brought my gloves, brought my mask, and then, kept my 6 feet and, just do your thing.
Dang, you brought all that stuff, huh?
You're like, I'm not even doing all that.
I'm not. I mean, maybe I'm dumb for that, but
No, I mean,
I'm not.
it's like, it depends. It's like, if you know that person, right? With me, it's like, it's my first time meeting that person. So I don't want to
Okay.
be, you know what I mean? I want to like, be as
Respect
respectful
it.
as possible. But if you had known this person beforehand, it's like, I probably would have been a little more chill about it. But,
Right.
yeah. So, I mean, what has it been like for you? Because I've had some people hitting me up that I was talking to that wanted to get that process started, and they text me, or email me, and they're like, "Hey, we're put on hold." And I'm like, honestly, I mean, I've advised a lot of people that that's smart. I mean, even the people that have been laid off from their jobs, they can't go through with the loan anyways. So, I mean, it's the people that are still working. It's super lucky for them that they can even still buy a house right now.
Well, to me, Roland's like, I don't ask too many questions. Like as far as like I don't try to create more uncertainty than there already is.
Yeah.
If they're moving forward as far as like being positive about looking at a property or asking questions about getting a loan, I lead them in the right direction.
Right.
I don't think it's my role to be the guy that's like, hey man, don't buy right now. It's my job to help them purchase a property.
Yeah.
So I just keep it like that. Like I'm the guy like leading them in the direction, and that's it. Like I'm not. If they open it up to me, then I'm like, yeah, I totally get it. Like I had a client yesterday. I was like, she was like, oh, like I don't know. It's weird because she purchased the property and she gave them a 30-day rent back, and the rent back is like going into this whole quarantine situation.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So the seller at the property's like, hey, we wanted to move, but we have nowhere to go. And she's like, the buyer's like, I want my freaking house. Like, what the hell?
Damn.
Yeah. So that's like a unique thing that I've never dealt with before. And like, I'm talking to her about the whole situation. But other than that, I'm not, man. I'm just like keeping my head down, making calls, getting leads, like with Marker. If we get leads and they get interested, they're interested, I'm doing my job, dude.
Yeah. So what was this last week like for you? Because with me, it was like I really slowed down. Like I was like, you know what I mean? I chilled a lot. I've just been doing some house projects and stuff like that. Have you literally just kept your same routine? You're doing the same exact thing?
Well, I think our lifestyles are a little bit different than
Totally.
most like working professionals because I work from home. My only thing that's different about my life since the quarantine started, which is kind of weird, is that I don't go to the gym. I don't go to a coffee shop. I don't make as many I don't have as many like appointments.
Yeah.
But it has definitely slowed down. Yeah. Taking a lot more walks, I guess, like personal time.
Right.
And but like I'm focused on the people that are hot, dude. Like I have one guy that's, like I'm not sure if I started telling you this beforehand, but super ready to go, like looking at sending me properties to go look at. I'm not even sending him properties; he's sending me properties. Another guy that just wants to get a loan right away, putting his money into his daughter's account or something.
Right.
And one client that is ready to list her property. So, like I said, dude, like I don't ask too many questions.
Yeah.
Like, if those people are ready, dude, I'm not like, oh, how you dealing with the quarantine? Like, nah, man.
Yeah.
No.
That's super
like,
smart. Right. I mean, that's actually some great advice for me. I mean, not to get too involved and to past what your real profession is, right?
Yeah, dude, because it's like, in my opinion, they use us. Like we're like used for a service. We're like in the service industry.
Yeah.
It's like, and if you compare it to like a restaurant, we're the waiter. It's like, oh, they want some food. We're the person to bring them the food, or the busboy, whatever the hell it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not asking me about my fucking day or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I have one client that's like, he lives in like Granada Hills, which is like 40 minutes from me. He doesn't give a shit where I live.
Right.
He just wants to see a property. I'm like, all right. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he
doesn't care about my like personal life or like if I have kids or a girlfriend or whatever. Like, no, that's it. I'm an object, bro. It sucks.
Yeah.
We're
the help. I've heard that terminology before. We're the help.
That's it, dude.
Yeah.
And I try to keep it like that. And like, if I keep it like that, then I'm focusing on the first deal and then the next deal. And that's it, dude. Like,
yeah.
They want to buy a house and I'm helping them, dude. And that's it.
So with you, you kind of, I mean, would you say that you're part-time, like you're a, or would you just say you have two professions? Like, what has that been like? And you have any projects, other side projects, or, with all this time you've had that you are like, okay, I can focus on this now?
Yeah. So I have a sports writing job that I do as well. Yeah. I would say that's part-time. My main moneymaker is this real estate job. And I am focusing a little bit more on the sports writing stuff right now. Just kind of like, but there isn't really much sports going on.
It's weird. Yeah. It's a weird thing because there's no sports to write about.
No sports. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm, just working on stuff, man, like, brainstorming and, working on projects that I have like kind of in the pipeline that I haven't really touched too much and just focus on them a little bit more.
Yeah. It's funny because I got pretty like kind of stoked about this when like I was like, oh, dude, I'm gonna have like hell of time. I can knock out like 3-4 of these podcasts in a week now. But it's kind of messed up because I was saying this on my last interview that like I have some people like I have this dude that I know that owns like 3 restaurants in San Francisco. And I was like, hey man, if you have any downtime, now during this whole lockdown, he was like, dude, I'm like trying to figure out how the hell like my employees are gonna get paid. Like right now, he's like, dude, I want to come on, but I really like I'm still pretty busy right now. I was like, as a kind of like it's like, oh shit. Like there's actually like some people that are like still really having to like deal with some really difficult shit, which kind of made me take a step back.
It's like they're like, I mean, there's some people that are just like people are relying on those people.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of pressure on that. Like I have friends that aren't working right now and it sucks. Like they just happen out of nowhere, man. So it's like it could happen to us too, dude. Like
easily.
The real estate industry really, really goes down. What are we gonna do?
Right.
Scary.
I know.
Yeah.
But that's cool. I mean, it's cool that you have 2 sources of income, and that's like all of us. We're always trying to work on our sources of income, right? Or a lot of us are.
Yeah. Right. I mean, just about keeping yourself busy, man.
Yeah.
And not thinking too hard about like, as long as you keep yourself busy and focus on, going on the right path, I think good things will happen. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a secret to what I do, dude. Like I'm not like some like philosopher or whatever it may be, but like, I'm just like fucking doing what I have to do, man.
Yeah.
Like if I'm haven't sold a house in a month or 2 or whatever, I tighten it up and fucking just keep on working, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like as far as the sports writing thing that I do, like that started off as like a hobby for fun, and it kind of grew into something else. And it's still like something I do for fun. Like if it
Right.
feels like work, I'll slow down. Like I don't want it to be work.
So yeah, tell me about that. Would you say that writing is more your passion, or is it more sports and boxing is your passion, and writing is kind of the creative outlet of that?
Nah, that's a great question. I would say sports and boxing is something sport I love. Boxing is like a sport I loved growing up.
Yeah.
And then I thought I could get into it as a writer.
Hmm.
And then I just kind of like the way I kind of put my foot in the door. And I started writing like car driving by. It's funny. I started writing for fantasy sports, like in my fantasy leagues.
Okay.
I used to write articles for my friends, and they thought it was funny, and they were like, "Dude, you should start being a sports writer." And then I kind of got into it. Like met a few boxers. It's a long story, but yeah, I'd say the sport aspect of it is more of a passion than the writing, for sure.
Right.
Writing's
right.
hard, man.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that because I always I think like when I was like younger, I was like, dude, it would be so dope to be like a movie critic, like and write, you know what I mean, like write reviews and stuff like that. Which I know we've talked a lot about how I'm like super into movies. So tell me, you say writing is hard. Like what is it about that's tough? Or it's just the whole logistics of everything, or just really trying to make something that's approachable or readable to somebody, or you know what I mean?
Well, it just depends on how you write. Like I try to write creatively. I try to write. I'm not trying to write something where like it's results driven. Like there's like a sporting event, and one team beats another. Yeah, that's really easy to write about. Like
Right.
the Spurs beat the Lakers 100-94. Homeboy had 40 points.
Right.
I like to write like a creative story that you could read 10 years from now and still relate to it.
Mm.
So that shit is kind of like, it's hard to do. You can't force the creative process. You got to make something out of nothing. You got to find a quote and just kind of like just run with it.
Right.
And then like, make a story out of it.
So how long does it take you to write like an article like that? Like what is the process like, if you could break it down?
Yeah. The best articles for me are the shorter ones. Like they'll just kind of just like flow out of your head.
To the point,
like like maybe you'll be like, I've written articles. Some of them have taken me like an hour. Other ones will take me like fucking a week and a half.
It's funny. It's like rappers. Like sometimes they'll come up with these songs in like 5 minutes or whatever the case may be. And sometimes it took them like a month to write those couple verses or whatever it is.
Exactly. Yeah. Just like, and I don't write like from the beginning, to the end. I'll write something like, if I'm writing, like, let's say like a 1,000 word story, I'll write like the main part of it, and then I'll fill in the blanks. Like, I'll write the introduction later, then I'll write the end afterwards.
Okay.
So it's just about like what pops in my head, and then I try to like make it kind of like cross-reference to other things, like compare it to like a movie, or compare it to like something that's going on in the current events or something like that.
Right.
So,
and you would say your college degree definitely helped you become a writer.
Yeah, I got a degree in history. I thought I was going to be a teacher. I was a teacher, actually.
Yeah.
I was going to school to be a teacher. And I did like a thesis on the history of black heavyweights in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
Wrote a 30-page paper on that. And I knew like a shitload about boxing after that. And I sent it out to all these like hardcore, nerdy boxing websites I used to read. I'm like, hey man, like I just graduated college. I'm ready. I want to write for you guys. I'll do it for free. I don't care. I just want to write. And then, a few people hit me back. They're like, oh yeah, send us a sample of your work. I sent them a sample, like, it took me a couple of days to write it. And then the next day, one of the websites published it. And then it just kind of grew from there.
Damn. That's how your resume was building from there, basically.
Yeah. And then like I ended up meeting a few fighters, and one guy, Andre Ward, he's from the Bay, from Oakland.
Yep.
He was like really young at the time when I met him, and I was living in Modesto, and I was like, hey, like I interviewed him. He was like 6-0, 7-0. I was like, dude, whenever you do something that's cool or something's coming up, just let me know. and then I'll fucking blast it out. And he
Nice.
did, and like for like 2 years, I started blasting it out, and it became kind of like gaining respect that way as the guy that kind of breaking news about an up and coming fighter.
Right.
So yeah, so like, dude, honestly, like I said, I do it for fun. I get paid to do it, but I do it as a passion. It's not something
Yeah.
that like the real estate is my bread and butter. Like it's my brother's company I work for, and I try to help him out as much as I can. But you know, this whole thing with like sports writing and writing about boxing, and you know, it's been it's something I dreamed about when I was a kid, like you said. Like it was like I've always wanted to be like a part of sports, go to events, shake hands with cool ass people,
Yeah.
and just like learn from them. Like I talk to people like some of these like the world class athletes, fucking multimillionaires about real estate.
Yeah.
Talk about real estate, and it's cool that I could like intertwine the two aspects of like my life with them, and like you kind of gain respect in a certain way too, because if you start talking only about boxing with boxing people, if you come in as a writer, they don't really respect you so much. Or like, damn, this writer's coming up. Like, I'm cool.
Right. I got to talk about because they
I
want to be they want to have normal conversations just like everybody else, right?
Right. They want to just like talk about everyday stuff, and then they don't want to have their guard up all the time. Not feeling like, oh, this guy's gonna write some shit about me right now. Yeah. So that's the way I've always approached it. Kind of personal, kind of like, not really like not intrusive, being more of like a relationship building type of thing with my sports world. And it's a long-term approach, but I love it, man. It's cool.
Has writing helped you with real estate and vice versa?
Yeah, I think real estate has helped me with. Yeah, because I mean, dude, they're both relationship types of businesses. You know? Yeah. Definitely, man. It's more of like something where you got to earn to people's respect, and they could come to you to with confidential information, in both worlds, and know that you're not gonna like shop it around or disrespect them in any way. So yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah. So how did you get I mean, you kind of touched on how you got your start in writing. How'd you get your start in real estate? What was that transition where you were like, okay, I don't know if you were working like a W-2 job or whatever the case may be, but were you just like, okay, I'm gonna get my license, I'm gonna go all in on real estate?
So this story kind of starts with my brother too, because he's like a year and a half older than me. And he started doing real estate like in 2001 or 2002, and he was kicking ass.
Right.
Just started there. He was like fucking 23 years old, just doing well. And I didn't we kind of butt heads because like I didn't really want to follow his footsteps at the time. I was like, I'll keep on like living my life or whatever.
Of course. Yeah.
And it kind of transitioned, long story short, into something where he started his own business in 2014. But from when I was like 25 to about like 30, 31, I was so focused on writing about sports that I would just like have like side jobs to help me like, pass and pay my rent, and not really like focus on them too much. Like I did like pharmaceutical sales. I worked for like a company called, Hertz Rent-A-Car, but I did outside sales for Hertz Rent-A-Car. And I worked for a company called Lexmark that was like a printer company, and I also did outside sales for them. I just needed the flexibility of having like time to go to events with boxing and make money. And then Kevin started the real estate company in 2014. He's like, hey man, you don't care about these other jobs. Why don't you just work with me? And I was like, all right. So I dropped everything I fucking did and almost went on unemployment to get my damn real estate license.
Nice.
I was like going broke. And I got my license, and and then like it took me like a few months to sell my first house, but yeah, I went all in, dude. I just went all in, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made.
Hell yeah.
Like it's definitely something that it's a hard business to make it in.
Absolutely.
If you make it and you do like do your job the right way, like it's very lucrative.
Yeah.
And I know like I'm definitely not at the top of my game. Like although I do know that I'm doing well, I know I could do way better. I know I could do way better. So yeah.
So I mean, you talk about how you had that pushback from him. You guys kind of butt heads. Like I know me personally, like I never, ever pictured myself being a real estate agent in like a million years. Was that?
Uh,
Can you relate to that at all, or like I mean, because you always did sales. So was that transition from like a? I mean, I'm sure you were still commissioned with sales, but from kind of a W-2 job or getting that consistent base pay or whatever it may be, how was that transition? Mentally going into just straight commission only.
you cut out the last part of your
Oh, okay.
question.
Yeah. So how was it making that transition from going like, where you still had that base pay to just real estate, just commission only? What was that, kind of mentally that struggle that a lot of us go through?
I mean, it was definitely scary. It was something that, I mean, it was just like, it was a lot of uncertainty, and I didn't know what to expect. But I just had belief, man. I just knew that, if I kept my foot down and kept working, then something good would happen out of it. There wasn't, anything where, I had some sort of like, I don't know if I could clearly answer that question, to be
Right.
honest, man. I just
Just did it. Just do
had
her.
belief that I'd do okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
walk me through what, like, kind of what your day to day is like within your systems or processes of juggling the two of writing and real estate. I mean, like you said, real estate's your bread and butter. Um, but with writing, like, do you have like a certain time, like a week where you're like, okay, I'm going to commit to this? Or is it kind of just like the creative mind where you're like, oh, I got some spare time. Let me just do this, and kind of back and forth.
It's pretty, to be honest, dude, it's pretty unorganized in a way,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
I just, if I feel like writing, I'll write. If
Right.
I feel like working on real estate, I will. But most of my time is focused on real estate.
Yeah.
Most of it is. Like,
Yeah.
I'm in front of a computer all freaking day.
Yep.
I just try to get as creative as I can to find people properties. And that's it.
So I know you talked a little bit about as well, before you got to real estate, you were kind of all about, you're like just trying to do writing. Was there, so there was a point in your life where you really wanted to do like all in just writing about boxing, or just, any type of profession in boxing?
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, who wouldn't want to be a sports writer as a young fucking diehard sports fan? I mean,
Right.
I still want to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
but then I just became realistic about it, dude. I was I started seeing like the lifestyle of my peers that are in sports writing, and I'm like, man, like I could fucking put all my time into this shit, and there's no way I can make more money doing that than I could in real estate, unless I was like one of the top 5 guys in the sport.
Right.
And I didn't have the work ethic to get to that point in sports, because I did it honestly as a passion. And I do it as a passion. I do it for the love. And I do it to like kind of like, make my, I guess, an escape type of thing.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of potential in sports, but the thing is with real estate, comparing that to boxing, your previous question, it's like they're both cutthroat businesses.
Yeah.
I see some of the shit that, not only like writers go through, but also like athletes and promoters and managers. And I'm just like, damn, like you're really not making that much money, like, and you're putting that much work into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, well, I could sell like a fucking $1 million property and just like do it the right way, and make good amount of money doing that.
Right.
And I could like make my lifestyle better, and help my brother's business. Like, why wouldn't I just focus on that?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like where I'm at with it. So
That's funny. That's funny that there's so much that you don't see until you get into it, that there's behind the scenes, and there's all of that. Tell me a little bit about because I know you told me you started off with Andre Ward and blasting stuff out. What did it take to actually get the people at Bleacher Report to read and accept your articles, and what the process was like of them reaching out to you, or is just your track record, or touch on that?
Yeah, so I when I started writing about boxing, I wrote an article every 2 weeks, and like I said, I focused on not results, but like, just stories. And I did that for years, dude, years. And, making minimal money, but whatever. Then out of nowhere, Bleacher Report hit me up. They had me like write a handful of stories for them to start and see what sort of like work I could do. And it just kind of grew from there. So yeah, they reached out to me. I tried like to reach out. I didn't even think about Bleacher Report.
Right.
I used to reach out to like ESPN, Yahoo, and I didn't really know many people at these websites. So I would just like go on their website and go in like the career section and be like, hey, I want to be a writer. You know what I'm saying? But that's not how you get a job, dude.
I know.
You get a job either like, yeah.
Do you do like, you hear about this stuff now, like the headhunting on LinkedIn and like, you know what I mean? Just going into like, you search a company and you see everybody works for that company and you find that specific person, within that company and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't think that's the way to do it, man. You got to know the right people. I don't know. I don't think so. I think you got to go to like events and like talk to people and shake
network.
Hands. And, yeah, and it's being like going back to being a real estate agent. Like they're gonna work with you if they like you.
Yeah.
No, they don't. You're a young real estate agent, dude.
Uh-huh.
There's no way you have more experience than like the 45-year-old dude that's been doing it for like 20 years.
Yeah.
But you're selling homes to people because they like working with you. They trust you. Yeah. So I think that's the way to do it, man. Like they don't. Yeah. They like you, they'll go with you.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of talk. I mean, I actually interviewed your brother a couple of days ago.
Nice.
But I want to talk to you a little bit about, your family because, you're successful, your brother's successful. I think you guys have a brother or cousin that's like a drummer of System of a Down or something like that. What do you think, like, what's up with your family, dude? Like, why, what breeds this, work ethic and all of that? Do you feel like it's kind of just you guys being, the children of immigrants or what do you think of that?
Yeah, we are children of immigrants. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. We're children of immigrants for sure. Our family came from Iraq and they migrated out here. But I think what drives our success is humble beginnings, man. We came up, grew up in North Hollywood, fucking in a 1-bedroom apartment with 3 kids. My uncle lived with us at one point. We grew up, didn't have the greatest childhood as far as like, having resources and stuff.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of love and a lot of drive. So I think what drives me and probably partially what drives my brother or, anyone else that's, successful is like the fear of failure, dude. Like I ain't trying to fail. I ain't trying to go backwards.
Yeah.
Like shit might happen in front of me, they'll take a step back, but I'll keep on going, dude. Like, I know, like, I know people that like have made mistakes and they go down the wrong path. And that kind of drives me too. Like, hey man, you can't fuck up. Don't fuck up. Just fucking keep on going. So, yeah, man, I think that's what it is, dude. It's just like, just fucking keeping your head down. We had a lot of love, a lot of support. Like when you talk about my cousin Darren, he's a guitarist of System of a Down. He used to have like pink hair and shit, dude. Like when he was like 15 years old, but his parents like supported him, dude. Like, they're like, oh yeah, like he's gonna be, it's something special. So yeah, man, like it's just about like just going for it, man.
Right.
No fear. Like the worst thing that could happen. The way I thought about it was the worst thing that could happen. Like I jumped into real estate or made a move out of my parents' house. Like I could go back to where I started, and that's it. That's the worst fucking thing.
Yep.
So why not just go for it, dude?
Yeah.
Just go for it.
Yeah.
That's how I felt, man.
So you would say that that's probably your main motivation for success is just, I don't want to say fear of failure, but, or, you know what I mean? Just kind of like, what's the worst that could happen? You know what I mean? That's a great quote to tell yourself.
I wouldn't say that's my best motivation for success, but it's my motivation to take a chance would be that. Like what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
Like, the worst thing that could fucking happen, God forbid, is I end up back at my parents' house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like whatever, dude.
Yeah.
Like I've been there before and I've made it before, so I'll do it. So let's just give it a chance. Why not?
Exactly.
So yeah. And then like success, man, like I don't know, man. Like I think there's a lot more to make it. Like, there's a lot more to do. Like, I don't feel successful.
Really?
Like I've done good things, but like, I think I can do more, man.
Yeah. I mean, of course, we all could. I think that's why I kind of, like I was telling you, I was still kind of playing around with the name of the podcast, is because there's so many different versions of success to so many different people, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? Some people it's money, or some people it's, you know, just that job they wanted, or, you know what I mean, just having their family and their bills are paid for. So yeah, I think there's so many different versions of success in everybody's lives, you know?
For sure, man.
Yeah.
There's like short-term success, long-term success.
Yep.
It's a journey, dude.
Yeah.
We gotta appreciate that.
Right. Right.
Yeah, for sure.
So, hey, we always like to end the podcast. This last question: if you could give one piece of advice to little Ray, what would that advice be?
Little Ray, how old is little Ray?
Any stage of your life, you could go back to any time that little Ray needed that advice.
I would say, don't be afraid to take a chance.
Yeah.
You know, it took me a while to get there.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to, like, you know, step out and be who you are.
Yeah.
It took me a while to kind of get comfortable in my own skin.
I relate to that a lot.
Yeah, and talk about, like, you know, the different aspects of my life. Like, for the longest time, I never talked about real estate and sports. I'd always be like, oh, I'm just this real estate agent. I don't do anything else, you know? But it's cool to kind of have different, you know, layers of yourself.
Right.
So just, you know, just be who you are. I wish I could do that earlier.
I agree.
Successful people are who they are, dude. Sorry about that noise.
No, you're good. I can barely hear it, honestly.
Yeah.
But, you know, I relate to that a lot, because I always think about that and, like, I go back and, you know, like, man, I wish I would have stopped giving a fuck a long fucking time ago.
Yeah, man, because nobody gives a fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a fuck what you're doing, bro. Like, they just want to talk shit. Like, what's social media about, man? It's about, like, looking at other people's, like, distractions and, like, and people talking shit if you're doing something good or bad or whatever.
Yeah. It's funny because I was talking this about your brother, and your brother, you know, he said he would have told, you know, his young self, take more risks. Right. And we kind of touched a little bit about, you know, what we're talking about now. And it was like, it was with me, I was like, I never wanted to start getting on video for real estate. Like, I was always like, dude, it's just like always the cheesiest looking thing to me. Like, I just don't want to do it. But it was really about caring about what other people thought. So, yeah, you know, I just told myself, dude, like, I don't give a shit. I'm going to do what I got to do.
Yeah, man. I think it's great that you're doing it now. And, show's pretty cool, man. I really enjoyed this convo.
Of course, man. Thank you for coming on. We'll have to have you on again once you reach that next level of your success.
Sounds good, brother. For sure, man.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Roland. Thanks, man.
All right.
Hello, ATS listeners. Thank you so much for listening to another episode. Big shout out to Ray for doing this. If you want to stay connected with us, follow our Instagram at All Things Success Podcast. We're dropping new episodes every Sunday on YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. Be on the look for that. And until next time, have a good one.